$70 to buy a remake of the first episode of The Last of Us. Does it make sense to buy such games at such a price? Before we start the video, make sure you subscribe the channel, and to support me, please like the video. It only takes you 5 seconds, but it's worth a lot to me. According to Lakes published a year ago, the news of remake release of one of the best games of 2013, the title of The Last of Us for the PlayStation in September this year, and subsequently for PC as it should be, is not considered shocking. The remake of the action and horror-style epic play Naughty Dog is an improved version of 2014's remaster, an 8th generation version for the PS4. But there is obviously a stark difference between a remastered title and a game that has been rebuilt from the beginning. As it turned out in The Last of Us Part 1, characters and environments have been restored from scratch, the quality of the animations has been improved, the textures will be much more detailed, the game will have a fixed frame rate of 60, and the AI of enemies and the game's campaign system will also be at the level of the second version. So the game will be both visually better than all previous versions and there will be improvements in it in terms of gameplay. But the fundamental question arises, is this remake title worth its $70 label? More natural technologies and improved animations are positive points in themselves, but another point about the game The Last of Us has generated heated debate among the franchise's fan community, and that is the price of this title on the day of the release. As it turns out, the normal version of the game will be released for $70, the digital deluxe version for $80, and the Firefly version for an extravagant price of $100. In fact, the price of this game is not significantly different from the price of other first-party PS5 titles. In this generation, Demon's Souls Remake for $70 and Returnal and Horizon Forbidden West titles were also released at $70, and it has been revealed that God of War Ragnarok will have the same price. Whether or not this matters is the fans' desire, $70 will be the base rate of the vast majority of the PS5's first-party titles. But the release of the remake of The Last of Us at $70 seems strange. According to published images and videos, it is clear that at least visually the quality of the game is stunning. On the other hand, how much each gamer is willing to pay for a game is a personal problem, but it should be noted that the original version of The Last of Us was released in 2013 for $60, and the remaster of the game was priced at $10 less for PS4. Currently, this remaster for the PS4 has a price tag of $20. On the other hand, this remaster is also part of the PlayStation Plus collection of games, so it can actually be said that players are already able to experience this game at a price of far less than $70. As mentioned, the improvements to this reconstructed title cannot be ignored. The game has seen vast improvements in many ways. Apart from the quality of textures, models and animations, the game's lighting has also been stunningly improved. Dark colors look far more realistic, and the game environment instills a throbbing sense of fear far better than before. The game world is clearly more natural than before, and the increase in detail in the design of different parts of the game is easily visible. In fact, although not many images and videos of the game have been released so far, it is clear that we are faced with a full next-generation title. Naughty Dog Studio has always made considerable technical achievements, and it is clear that this time it also intends to take advantage of the maximum power of the PS5. It's hard to judge the improvement of gameplay based on what we've seen so far, but according to Naughty Dog promises, the control of the protagonist has improved and the gameplay has been modernized, so we're faced with a more enjoyable effect. How significant these improvements will be and whether the improvements in gameplay will work in the same direction by changing the design of the steps in a way that matches the new gameplay will respond over time. Of course, the PS5 can add other features to the game thanks to its controller. 3D sound and the use of haptic feedback and the use of triggers in a way that makes the overall gaming experience more appealing than before are some of the things we can expect to see at the time of launch. For example, that the vibration of the PS5 controller at critical gameplay moments can make the experience much more exciting. On the other hand, the existence of some other points can change the gameplay. The ability to jump at all times, crawl among the grass and Ellie permanently have a switchblade, all of which help modernize the game's gameplay. Of course, using these can cause the design of the game stages to change hand-changing. What's unclear is how much Naughty Dog has applied new things in this remake. It is not clear to anyone that gameplay of The Last of Us Part 2 was much more dynamic than the first version. Whether or not we will experience such an experience in remake of the first version, an issue that cannot be answered based on trailers. We talked about the new features of the game and what we'll probably see on the day of the release, but it's also known that the PS5 version of The Last of Us is not going to have the original multiplayer section of the original version. There's additional left-behind content in Part 1. But if you're going to experience the multiplayer game, The Last of Us, you'll have to wait until the launch of the new Naughty Dog studio game in the years ahead. A title that seems an ambitious project, and Naughty Dog has preferred to put all its focus on it to present a multiplayer game. But in any case, the factions mode that existed in the original version is going to be a negative point, despite the high price of the restored version. Another incoherent point is that the remaster game, released for the PS4, is still of high quality, as a result of the $70 Remake version sticker. Controversial. In recent years, we've seen many games where Resident Evil 2, Final Fantasy VII and Demon's Souls are some of these examples, but the interval between the original version of these games and their remake version was more than the game Last of Us or more than that title needed remake. In any case, why this game should be rebuilt is not an unjustifiable issue. Many PS5 and PC owner gamers have not experienced this title so far. On the other hand, the new HBO series based on the game The Last of Us will naturally familiarize many people with this franchise for the first time. As a result, Sony's decision to create a modern version of the game is understandable with beautiful visual effects. Remake will release the first episode of The Last of Us on September 2, 2022. First for the PS5 and later for PC.